Really appreciate you joining us in the trenches with Dave Lapham, brought to you by First Star Logistics. And boy, Solomon Wilcots talks about the Cincinnati Bengals. He talks about the 7-game winning streak. He talks about the Bengals and the Buffalo Bills, how important this matchup is. Talks about in his playing days when they played the Buffalo Bills 3 times in the same season, preseason, regular season, postseason. A lot of football knowledge with Solomon Wilcots about this particular matchup, Cincinnati, Buffalo, as well as the season as a whole. You're going to like it. Thanks for joining us in the trenches with Dave Lapham, brought to you by First Star Logistics. And we are, as always, coming from our outstanding studios, and we have an outstanding guest, friend of our podcast videocast, and he's a heck of a football man, knows the game inside out. Solomon Wilcots. Merry Christmas, Solly, and Happy New Year.
Hey, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to you, Dave, you and your family, and of course to all Bengals Nation. We're just, I know you were on the plane coming back from the game Christmas Eve, man, and I got to tell you, when I read the report, I just sent up a prayer of thanks for everyone coming home safely. I know it had to be a harrowing experience, but, I'm glad everyone's okay.
Yeah, it was weird. I mean, they had engine trouble, and their manual said, shut the engine down. Then when the manual said, we'll find the closest airport to land at, had to go to JFK with a long runway because it's such a big plane and everything. And, man, turned into a long night, short morning. There's no doubt about that. But appreciate your thoughts and prayers on that one, Solly, for sure.
Yeah, you got in at 1 a.m. You guys are probably ready. The Christmas Eve dinner is waiting on you. It got a little bit cold, but if that's the worst of our complaints, it's not so bad.
Absolutely, no doubt about it. It ended up being one of those long nights, short mornings for sure, but it was all good. So let's talk about these Cincinnati Bengals, Solly. I mean, the last couple of games here, it's been a Charles Dickens special, a tale of two halves. Against Tampa Bay. They can't get anything done. They can't get out of their own way in the first half and then light it up, courtesy of the GOAT, who turned into a goat. They shaved the GOAT's horns with all those turnovers, 4 straight possessions with interceptions and fumbles. And then they had the punt team fiasco where, Giovanni Bernard is signaling, taking off the fake signal, and the thing hits him in the head. And then this past game, they can't look better than they looked in the first half against Bill Belichick and the New England Patriots. Then in the second half, lay a little bit of an egg. So, I mean, it's like, boy, against Buffalo and Baltimore to finish the season, you got to play 60 minutes. Can't be playing 30, right, Solly?
Oh, there's no doubt about it. I think that's really one of the lessons, the big, larger lesson that has to be learned. From here on out, it's playoff football. Not necessarily over the next 2 weeks that you lose and you go home, but you're going to be playing against playoff caliber talent. And those are the teams that do a lot of different things. They're more consistent from quarter to quarter, from first half to second half. They're more talented, and they're well coached, which means they're going to test your areas of weakness, and you're going to have to be able to overcome them. You're going to have to be able to not have these lulls in production from quarter to quarter and from one half to another half. So there's no doubt we got to play better. But when you consider, when you win 7 in a row, man, you kind of have to be both good and lucky. And you got to be able to time it up, right? And to me, that's what you saw at the end of the Patriots game. That play by DJ Reader and Von Bell and BJ Hill, all 3 guys were on the same page, playing this brand of defense Lou Anarumo wants. The more guys you get to the ball, good things happen for you. So, we've kind of played our way into some bad situations, but we're good enough to climb out of it as well. And I think that's a good sign.
7 in a row, like you said, Solly. I mean, that's hard to do on any level of football, be Pee-wee football or anything else. And to happen in the month of November and December, first time ever in franchise history to go 7-0 in those 2 months. And really at the beginning of the season, everybody thought, well, geez, the way the schedule is down the stretch, better build up some win equity and, because it's going to be tough down there. Well, now they're winning all these football games at that time. So I think this winning streak is significant because everybody knows who they are. They know their identity. They're trying to make the playoffs. They're playing teams they may see later on, in the playoffs, and they're winning. I think it's a very impressive winning streak. There's no question.
That brings up, and I'm not trying to compare our team in '88 to this team, right, but I'm talking about the way we won. As you remember, we got off to a 6-0 start.
Yep.
We end up, I think down the stretch, we might have been 4-4 in our final 8 games. And
right,
I think there were some questions about us. We were 12-4 on the season, but when we got to the postseason, remember, Buffalo was a team, even though they're not in our division, I think we played them 3 times that year. We played them in the preseason, the regular season, and then we played them in the AFC Championship game.
Right.
And they were loaded. They had the Bruce Smiths, they had the Jim Kellys, the Thurman Thomas, the Andre Reed. But what happened is it helped us to find out who we were. It helped us to prepare for some of those games down the stretch where the competition was going to be great. And it's good to be able to win those regular season games. And more importantly, you go into the postseason, it's about from the neck up, the ability to know we can play with anyone, anywhere, whether we're at home or on the road. And I think you have to be able to build that kind of callous psychologically for the tough games to come. And in that sense, I think this team is well prepared despite whatever these games have looked like along the way.
Joe Burrow in the month of December and January has won 10 straight now. That's significant. And here's an interesting stat I found, Solly. Going back to 2021, if Joe Burrow is sacked 3 times or fewer, he's 19-3, 52 touchdowns, 14 interceptions. When he's sacked 4 times or more, 2-7, 18 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. Protect the man, give him time and space. He'll pick people apart.
If he has time, he's gonna deliver the dagger.
Yep.
It goes back to the final offensive play for the Bengals in the Super Bowl. He's getting ready to hit Jamar Chase, and it's game over. We've got the trophy, not them. However, it's a testament. That's why the Bengals went out and dedicated these resources to the offensive line. They know that he's the kind of player that if you can protect him now, and he goes a long way into protecting himself, right? He gets it out as fast as any quarterback right now in the NFL.
Yeah.
He knows where to go with the ball as well as any quarterback in the NFL. He's going to give his receivers an opportunity. But you look at the 2 interceptions that he threw against the Patriots. Hey, I think Tyler Boyd tells you he should have come back to the ball and kept coming and working across the middle. That ball was thrown with anticipation by the quarterback, and the receiver did something differently. Same on the hot route that ended up being a pick 6.
Right.
Expecting a stop route. Receiver keeps going. Defensive back picks it off. A lot of his stuff now, when the mistakes are made, it's clearly with him doing a lot of the right things that you want because he knows he can't get caught holding that ball. Bad things happen. So we do have to clean some of those things up. This guy from the neck up is good as any quarterback we've ever seen. And look, man, to be in a 3rd year of a program, 3rd year of his NFL career, and to be playing at that level, you know what? I mean, and I think in the building they know it. This is not us heaping too much praise on Joe. It's about everybody else coming up to his level, right? Yeah. It really is. And they know that. That's not a criticism of the other guys. It's just pointing out what's really obvious. That's how out ahead of the curve he is. I talked to coaches around this league after they played him. They go back saying, oh, my goodness, we knew he was good. They kind of know coming in, we got to be good against this guy. And then after they played him, they like, hey, man, this guy is about as close to anything that we've seen. He reminds us a lot of some of the great ones that we've seen. And even Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, they recognize it in him. And so we're enjoying the ride, but now we just got to work harder to be that much better around him. Most of the 9 times out of 10, Joe Burrow is going to deliver.
Yeah, and we've talked about it before, Solly. The guy raises the boat so many ways, with the intangibles. First one in the building, last to leave. So other guys are like, if Joe's doing that, maybe I need to do a little bit more. I need to put some more protocols in my preparation. And then the other thing is, as great as he is, he wants to be coached. And he wants to be hard coached. He's totally coachable. So now the other guys in the team, man, if they're on Joe Burrow's butt like that, I got to put myself in a mindset where I'm going to be able to be coached. And now everybody is taking coaching, because Joe sets a great example of, go ahead and coach me. I want to learn more. That's a great thing from your leader, man.
And from day one, he kind of showed that. He's got the leadership qualities. He's got the high football IQ that, he can figure it out very quickly. He wants to learn. I said this, and I continue to say it now. No player in this league can coach himself. You don't find that in our league. Every single player, whether it's Aaron Donald or J.J. Watt or Von Miller, when they came into this league, they needed to be coached.
Yep.
They needed to be taught. All the great ones, they'll tell you. Even the smart ones, even the Peyton Mannings, the Tom Brady's, the Aaron Rodgers, they needed, okay, here's how we do it on this level. Here's what you can expect when you get this look. If they needed to be coached. This guy is a son of a coach. He didn't need to be told that. He knew that when he showed up. And I give Zach Taylor a lot of credit. When the bar is as high as you have it with a Joe Burrow, who comes with this tremendous knowledge already, but still needing more, you've got to be there. You got to meet that challenge. You got to pour into that guy who already brings so much. Now you got to up your game. And all the players around them understand they've got to up their game. But it's what you want. Like, that's what you want in an environment that really should be geared towards winning championships. He is the force multiplier that makes a lot of people better because he wants to be better. And everyone knows that, man, we got to bring it if we're going to fulfill the expectations around here. Because I know Zach has already had those expectations. Joe came into the building with those expectations. A Tyler Boyd, a Joe Mixon, a T. Higgins. All of these guys now, I think they all came from good programs.
Right.
Hey, saying, okay, how do you win a Super Bowl again? What do you got to do? So they've kind of brought some of those expectations with them. That's what makes for this tremendous cocktail of high productivity. And look at a guy like DJ Reader, man. This dude's all in, So I see it across the board from Avon Bell and Jesse Bates and so many of those other players. And they know that they've got a guy in number 9 that, okay, if we do what we're supposed to do, he does what he's supposed to do, guys. You know what we could do around here before it's all said and done? I think that's kind of what you see at work here.
Yeah, I agree, Sully. I mean, I think, you strive for perfection. You're never going to get perfection, but you can strive for excellence as close to perfection as possible, and nobody's satisfied. It's like, okay, we're starting to climb the ladder of success one rung at a time. Not satisfied yet. There's still rungs to climb here. I want to get to the top of that ladder of success. When you get there, there's no seat, I mean, you don't sit up there, man, you get knocked off. You got to keep climbing, man. So it's very interesting. One thing about Bill Belichick, when you play a Patriots team coached by Bill Belichick, he always tries to take your main weapon away, take your right hand away, make you play left-handed. Yeah. Well, he was doing a decent job of changing coverages up and making sure that Jamar was getting significantly doubled. And then all of a sudden, okay, well, the Bengals say, we're ambidextrous. We got another guy. We got T. Higgins. We can play with our left hand. Also, we got a guy named Trenton Irwin, three catches, 2 touchdowns. It could have been 4 catches, 3 touchdowns. This dude has 14 catches now in the season, 4 touchdowns. Hell of a ratio there. But T. Higgins, they get him matched up on 5'8" Marcus Jones, who's 175 pounds. T's 6'4" plus, 220 plus. He's targeted 9 times, 8 catches, 128 yards, and a touchdown. And I'm telling you, every time Joe Burrow saw him one-on-one, just put it up, let him make a contested catch, let him box people out. I mean, you don't need to make it hard, right, Solly? You can keep the game simple.
Yeah, and look, you were there at training camp, and the more I watched T. Higgins, I said, this kid's better. Like, he was good last year. You remember how he finished the season?
Yeah.
He was taking it to one of the great corners in our league, and Jalen Ramsey.
Yep.
And then I watched him at training camp, and I said, oh, this kid's better. Like, you could tell he's working at his craft. He wants to be the best. And, many people are looking at him like, how the Bengals get 2 of them? They're trying to get 1. How did they get 2? And then you get a competitor like what you have in Tyler Boyd, who will work you over the middle. And now Trenton Irwin and what he's able to do in this offense, and Hayden Hurst and all these guys. But yeah, T. Higgins is a guy, his pass catching radius and the way that he contests balls, and he can go up and catch them at the top. We don't call them 50-50 balls anymore. They're 85-15.
Right.
You know, so that's that's just kind of where he's at right now. And you kind of love what you see. We got 2 number ones. There's no doubt it. Hell, I'll throw Tyler Boyd in there and call it 3. So we're playing with house money. It's about protecting it up front. And even I think Bill Belichick understands that. He knew that it was formidable in what we saw in the first half. Now, look, we got to continue to score points when teams make those adjustments. But I think it speaks to just the mind of Bill Belichick. He's not going to let you do that to him for 4 quarters. Now, he's going to try to find an answer.
Right. No question. Okay, so we're talking about the line and protection, and lose LC, unfortunately, ACL, MCL. He's going to have surgery in a couple of weeks. He's done for the season. Hakeem Adeniji comes in, and he had been the 6th offensive lineman. He was the guy in their big package. He's played guard. He's played tackle. Yeah. Very, very similar to what took place in 1988, your Super Bowl 23 season. Joe Walter, last game of the year against the Washington Redskins. Yeah. He's going against Charles Mann. Charles Mann spins inside. And 6 minutes, 17 seconds to go in the 3rd quarter. Joe tries to redirect, and no contact, just on a natural grass field, pops his ACL in that redirection. Done for the year. Brian Blados, who was the 6th guy in the big package, played guard and tackle. He goes in for Joe Walter and plays very well. You guys win that Washington game, the last game of the regular season in overtime, win playoff games, lose the Super Bowl 23, but Brian Blados stepped up. Hakeem Adeniji has had that kind of background. He's played quite a bit for the Bengals. I think he's ready to step up. I see a lot of similarities there.
I've always liked him. I think he competes really well. You love his versatility. And look, I think he'll be fine. I think he's played enough, right? Even between last year and this year, he's grown and it's gotten better, continued to improve. I think he understands the mentality that Frank Pollard wants from his guys. And so his continued improvement, has given us better versatility, better depth. And now I think he's ready to answer that call. Now, look, these guys coming in here with the Buffalo Bills, they can get after it a little bit. We know about the Baltimore Ravens. I think that's going to be a really good test immediately. I still believe the best way to protect Joe Burrow is you got to give him some balance with the run game to slow down a pass rush. When we've run the ball consistently, because even when we're not as productive early, when we stuck with it, we become so much better later in the game at running the ball. And I think that does help us to protect Joe Burrow a little bit better. So that's the balance of helping our offensive line and helping with our pass protection is let's not get away from that run game, because Samaje Perine, Joe Mixon, the combination of the two, they're helping our offense to be so much better and so much more productive.
No question. I mean, stay with it, and then the efficiency starts to uncover itself, and now you get some balance like you're talking about. I couldn't agree more. You know, the thing that is interesting about this Buffalo football team, well, first of all, you can have 500 yards, but if you only put 17 points on the board, you still could lose the football game. It's all about points scored, points allowed. So I was doing a little homework last night, and I'm looking how many teams are in the top 10 in points scored and in the top 10 in points allowed as well. 5 teams in the entire league, 3 in the in the NFC. You have the Philadelphia Eagles, the Dallas Cowboys, the San Francisco 49ers, who have allowed the fewest points, by the way.
Yeah.
2 teams in the AFC, Buffalo, Cincinnati. The only 2 teams in the AFC, top 10 scoring, top 10 keeping people off the scoreboard. Yeah. Now, Buffalo is top 5 in both. They're second in the NFL scoring, which people would think, oh, yeah. But they're 4th in the NFL in points allowed. People, you can't sleep on this Buffalo Bill defense. You know that, Solly. You're a great defensive player. This Buffalo defense is solid, man.
Yeah, they've been together for about 3-4 years, this group.
Right.
You know, Taron Johnson, Tre'Davious White, Poyer. I love these guys. I was always a big Micah Hyde fan, who I know is injured.
Right.
But this guy was Big 10 Defensive Player of the Year when he was at Iowa. I talked to my good friend Darren Perry when he was coaching Micah Hyde at Green Bay, and they let him get away free agency to go to Buffalo. I'm like, what were you guys thinking? How could you? Because he's such a versatile player. And, when I talked to Luana Romo about the way defenses are built today, I often compliment him on being cut from that mold of the really great defensive players, the guys who understand how to build it from the back to the front. Guys who that's today's NFL. The Dick LeBeaus, the Bill Belichick's, all right, cut his teeth. The Nick Sabans, they cut their teeth in the secondary.
Yep.
Well, Sean McDermott and Leslie Frazier, the Buffalo Bills head coach, defensive back guy like a Mike Tomlin guy, and then obviously Les Frazier played on those great '85 Bears teams.
Yeah,
coach, you remember him because he coached here.
Yeah,
when he was on Marvin Lewis's staff. They know how to build a defense. They're not going to give you the big plays, and that's why I thought it was an anomaly when they played in that divisional playoff game against Patrick Mahomes last year, because they didn't cut off and close off the middle of the field, something that they do really well. And I believe that what we have to do is you got to attack their linebackers. It's the secondary guys now. You get greedy, they'll make you pay. But remember, we make linebackers cover too. We make them cover as well. And that's the reason why I think people don't give the Bengals defense enough credit with what Jermaine Pratt and Logan Wilson bring to our pass coverage. We often look at the secondary, the corners and the safeties, rightfully so. But linebackers are part of that 7-man unit that's got to cover. And our guys, I'll take our two guys up against anybody in the entire NFL. I'll take Logan Wilson and Jermaine Pratt against anyone, because you've got to have those guys. And that's where, to me, if we're smart, when it's time to attack the Bills secondary, think about how Hayden Hurst match up. Think about how P. Ryan as well as Mixon match up against their linebackers. Think about our slot guys getting across the face of that nickel or dime defender and working the middle of the field. That's where everything else is going to open up. And I think that's where they're most vulnerable in their pass coverage. You're not going to find a lot of places to operate, but I think you can make hay there. And that's what I like about our defense and our ability to hold up versus their defense and their ability to hold up.
That's real interesting, Starley. The short intermediate stuff in the middle of the football field, something to look at, something to keep an eye on. That's good stuff. So, Allen, this guy, 6'5", almost 240 pounds. He's bigger than every defensive player except for the defensive tackles, it seems like. Are you concerned with his physical aggressiveness, where when he leaves his feet and he lowers his shoulder and he runs people over and all that stuff? I mean, as a former lineman, I remember we would feed off of it when a quarterback would do those kind of things. When Boomer would show physicality, I know you guys fed off of that in '88. I mean, Allen is that dude he's something else. I mean, he's rushed for almost 750 yards. He's got 7 rushing touchdowns. He leads his team in rushing touchdowns. He not only can hurt you with that throwing arm, but man, he can definitely hurt you as a runner.
Yeah, the only quarterback that I could ever even compare him to when we played, and this guy was a hoss of a man, and he could have run the read option. They didn't deploy him in that manner, but that was John Elway. He could have did it. You and I both know he was that kind of an athlete. If they wanted to run a designed runs with John Elway and let him be the lead ball, he could have did it. He could drop the shoulder on you. Everybody remember him twirling around, in the Super Bowl against Green Bay. However, as a defender, I love you to use your quarterback as a tailback. You sure? I'm like this. You sure that's what you want to do? Because I'm getting ready to bring it. I can tell you that right. Dude, listen, he don't have special protection as a runner. All that stuff that quarterbacks, undefenseless player, nope. As a design runner, he's a tailback. And that's how we're going to treat him. Now, let me ask you this. Who would you rather tackle, Josh Allen or Derrick Henry? Josh Allen.
No question.
Well, we already dealt with Derrick Henry.
That's right.
Josh Allen come running up through there, man. You treat him with the same bad intentions you would treat Derrick Henry.
And Nick Chubb.
Nick Chubb, or who, I don't care who it is. Walter Payton, he is not those guys.
Right.
That's what you got to understand. That's, to me, as a defender, this isn't some mirage. This isn't some guy that we're tackling that offers us, something that's impossible. He's a quarterback. And if you want to be a running back, let's treat him like a running back. That's all I'm trying to tell you. Bad intentions. When you go to tackling, man, look, he does not have special protection.
Yeah.
He's a runner. And you got to make him want to be a quarterback more than he wants to be a running back.
Make him pay. I agree, Solly. All right, so I got to ask you about Diggs. How do a guy like Diggs that has the chemistry that he has with Allen? Diggs, 101 catches, third most in the league. 1,325 yards, third most in the league. 10 touchdown catches, tied for second most in the league. He is the guy. There's nobody that's even close. I mean, the next receiver, from a production standpoint, knocks the tight end with 46 catches, less than half of them. Davis, the other receiver, has almost 18 yards a catch. He has a 98-yard touchdown. He's got 7 touchdown catches, which is tied for 11th in the league. But, man, Allen is looking for Diggs. What makes Diggs different, Solly, and how do you handle him?
90% of the game is played from the neck up. This guy is a dude. Like, he's a dude. Sometimes the smallest guy in the room is the baddest guy in the room.
Yeah.
Like, we had a guy like that in James Brooks. People are like, oh, he's a little guy. Don't worry about it. You'll see. You'll see. When the fight breaks out, you'll see. And guess what? He was the baddest dude in the room. Trust me when I tell you, he was. That's Stephon Diggs. If you think this dude ain't the baddest dude in the room, you will find he will work you. He will work you to death. He will outwork you. He will outcompete you. He is not to be trifled with. You better come ready and bring a lunch, and maybe plan on bringing 2, because he is going to outwork you. And look, man, it's about mentality. Some guys in this league, they truly understand that he's not ready to go 4 quarters like I'm ready to go. He's not ready to do the things I'm willing to do. Look, we got one in number 9. That's why, you and I just waxed poetic about what he brings, why he's so hard to beat.
Yeah.
But they got one in number 14. Trust me, he makes the whole thing go. He is the guy. Now, they've got some great complimentary pieces. Dawson Knox, that dude will hurt you just like Hayden Hurst will hurt you on our side. I like Gabriel Davis. I think this guy is an up-and-coming player. I know they expected to get a little more out of him, but he's capable of. He hung 4 touchdown passes on Kansas City Chiefs in that divisional game last year. He can work you over as well. Yeah. They bring back Cole Beasley, who's a great route runner, understands the offense. So I think that's our biggest test. I think we showed maybe our Achilles heel against the Patriots late in that game, that maybe we could be challenged downfield deep. Not against our safeties. Our safeties play deep ball as well as anybody. Right. Trust me when I tell you, they really do. I love our safety.
Yep.
But on the outside, on the perimeter now, let's face it, Chidobe Awuzie is not there. I would have loved to seen us go get James Bradbury. I was screaming from the rooftops that this guy from the Giants is going to become available. We need to get him. The Eagles must have been listening, because they went snatched him up, right? As he's the perfect. I thought he was a better buy than Stephon Gilmore, who was also available. But listen, man, this is where that position, when you get into these games down the stretch, particularly into the postseason, this is where teams and the vulnerabilities become that much more heightened. And I think, we've got some youth at corner. We've got some deficiencies, not whole scale, but look, man, you know how this league is, Dave. They're going to test you there. And that's what Belichick was doing. Look, man, Mac Jones hasn't thrown deep all year long.
Right.
Until second half of our game. And then found out, they found out late. Think if they would have found out early. I think if we got to play them again, and guess what? Other teams are getting this tape too now.
Sure.
Just I'm not here to expose anything that haven't already been seen. You know
Right.
ball like I know ball. You know, you watch it, you see it. I'm just saying
Let's go to videotape.
we gotta be better, and we're gonna get tested in those areas against the Bills, and particularly after we get into the postseason. Like if we end up playing the Chargers, what do you think they're gonna do? They're going deep, man. They're going. These teams are going to challenge you and force you to defend, as we would say, every blade of grass. They're not going to dink and dunk you like the Baltimore Ravens that try to beat you with a tight end. You know, no, these guys, man, they're going to test you outside the numbers, you know, on the perimeter.
So this football team still wants to be the number 1 seed. And to do that, they have to run the table. If they run the table, they'll have 13 victories, which would be a franchise record. Now, 17 games. I think the team that I played on that went to Super Bowl 16, the team you played on that went to Super Bowl 23, if we had 17 games, we might have won 13 as well. But they get a chance to do it, you know, and set a record. And the other thing they get to do is, you know, now that they qualified for the playoffs again, they can be the first team in franchise history to win a playoff game in consecutive seasons. That hasn't happened.
It hasn't happened. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So there's like, you know, there's still things that this football team is playing for. They still have everything ahead of them.
Yeah.
What do you think is the biggest key down the stretch here? You know, if like you went through a stretch run to win a division title, then a conference championship, go to a Super Bowl. What should be first and foremost in players' minds right now as the season winds down, Solly?
Well, first of all, let me say this. If the Cincinnati Bengals were a stock, I'm buying wholesale. I'm buying. I'm grabbing up as many shares as I can because that's how I feel about this thing. You and I both know every single team has got an area. I think you and I, styles make fights, man. Matchups matter. There are certain teams I think we match up good against. I think there's some other teams that might test us a little bit. And so we've got to be able to always understand that the run game helps you to control the fight. That it's not about throw. And I know fans love the passing game. So do I. And Joe Burrow, I love the gaudy numbers when he has 350 and 3-4 touchdown passes. I get it. But what allows you to really control the fight is having that run game. Allow the offense to go through Mixon and P. Ryan because that opens up everything else. You and I both know that. Yep. It protects our defense and keeps them rested. Our defense has to understand that winning the line of scrimmage, it's no accident that once we got DJ Reader back, everything changed for the defense. Because that dude, he kicks tail up front now.
He does.
He digs them out, man. He can dig them out. Like, so when you got to win the line of scrimmage in these games. And I think we're good enough at the skill positions that we can literally dominate. I think our defense is just so good. I think Lou Anarumo gives us an opportunity to be great. And what we have to do in these games is know this. They're going to come down to the last possession on offense and defense. They always do. That's the NFL that we live in now. And if you think that you're supposed to be winning by a blowout or up by 10, and if you got a 10-point lead and you think you got it, no. It's about this. It's about being in the moment and understanding that they're not dead until we put them away, until every tick on that clock is gone. And then lastly, you can't pull the pin on your own hand grenade.
Yeah.
Don't beat yourself.
Yep.
Stupid penalties, mistiming, and offsides defensively at critical moments. The Bengals last year was the least penalized team in the league. We're still doing a lot. Still doing good in that area.
Yep.
To me, that when I say 90% of games played from the neck up, if you realize the game's going to come down to the final moments and you got to be sharp, smart, and on your game. If you realize, don't beat ourselves, let them do that. You remember a playoff game we lost to Pittsburgh not too long ago when Marvin was here. Remember that game? Had that game won.
Oh, yeah.
We beat ourselves. Those are the things that we shouldn't have to make that mistake to learn the lesson. And if you're smart like that, yeah, you can get back to a Super Bowl, because I think the talent is good enough, the coaching's good enough, and now you just got to go out and do it.
Solly, can't thank you enough for your time. And before we say goodbye, tell fans where they can get more Solomon Wilcots. I was listening to you and Merrill Hodge this morning talk about, the concussion problems and what's going on with two and everything. That was great radio, man. And you have podcast radio. Where can the fans get more fill of Solomon Wilcots, because you can never get enough?
Hey, appreciate that, Dave. No, you can check us out on Sirius XM NFL Radio Channel 88 on Sirius Satellite Radio. The opening drive from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. Eastern Time, Monday through Friday. I'm on with Ed McCaffrey, with Torrey Holt, and obviously my good friend Merrill Hodge joins me for a segment every Friday. We had him on today because he was so good at talking about these brain injuries and concussions. You can also check us out on the Believe in Bengal podcast, me and my guy Adam Pac-Man Jones, by going to the Believe Podcast Network or Believe, BLEAV.com. And also we air on Bally Sports Ohio, Channel 43. So we're fortunate to be able to simulcast our podcast on Spectrum Cable on Bally Sports Ohio. So that's where you can get more of what we do. We love the game, and the game has been really good to us.
And you've been really good to the game, man. Great player, unbelievable broadcaster. Solomon Wilcots, can't thank you enough. Appreciate your time. I know it's valuable, and we look forward to catching up with you whenever we can.
All right, we appreciate you, Dave. Keep up the good work, and always good to talk Bengals. Who they? Go Bengals.
At First Star Logistics, we're a very strict company that really puts the pressure on our employees. Brakes? What are those?
That's what I'm talking about, Icky. Get the body right, then the mind's right.
Gotta get that body right.
That's right.
Yes, sir.
Become a star with a chance to earn the highest commission percentages in the industry as a freight broker agent. Check out FirstStarLogistics.com.